Morning. I'd like to welcome you everyone to the Tuesday, October 10th Board of Commissioners meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First item on the agenda is the opening and reading of bids regarding the demolition of condemned properties.
Good morning, Commissioners. Phil Garrett, Counsel for the Building Department. Office is at 420 Lincoln Way West in Mishawaka. We have received one bid for each of the 6 properties that were up for bids from Beaver Excavating. We'd ask that the board receive the bids for consideration by staff.
Do we have to open them at this time?
You want to open them and read them?
Sure. First one is for the property located at 5873 Mayflower Road.
Yeah, sorry, it's nice to hear you.
Problem.
No.
Total bid amount is $10,600. Again, that's from Beaver Excavating out of Plymouth. Second bid is for property located at 19273 Hamilton Street in South Bend. This bid is again from Beaver Excavating out of Plymouth. Total bid amount is $13,600. Next bid is for property located at 54340 Norwood Drive in South Bend, again from Beaver Excavating. Total bid amount is $13,600. Next bid is for 52649 Emmons Road, again from Beaver Excavating. Total bid amount is $56,600. Next property is 22950 Ardmore Trail, again from Beaver Excavating. Total bid amount is $24,600. Final bid is 11994 Jefferson Road in Beaver Excavating. Total bid amount is $9,900. Are there any additional bids? Seeing none, we'd ask that the commissioners receive the bids for consideration by staff.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion to receive the bids?
There's a motion to receive the bids.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Next, I'm looking for a motion to approve the accounts payable docket. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the accounts payable docket.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is approval of the trick-or-treat times for the unincorporated areas of St. Joseph County, those times being 5 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 31st. Do we have a motion?
For the fleet management?
No, approval of the trick-or-treat times.
Oh, gosh, I didn't have that. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve that,
Thank you.
President Baxmeyer.
I don't know. We have a motion. It keeps us in line with the city's times.
Okay. I'll second that.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is the proposal for fleet management and GPS.
Good morning, Commissioners. Ryan Rhodes, Director of Fleet with offices on the 7th floor. Before you today is a request to accept the proposal for Enterprise for the RFP that we put out for fleet management services. We also ask that we can accept all bids for the GPS from both AT&T and Enterprise, so we don't interfere with pre-existing deployments of the Geotab solution.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Ryan and Bree and everybody else on this. This is something that former Commissioner Krasinski and I started a long time ago on this. This will help us then determine, by finding out the mileage of everybody, what we're going to do with take-home vehicles, because I know we have a lot of those, so we just want to collect the data and see what's personal mileage, what's mileage on duty, and see if it's people who have take-home vehicles, is it worthy that they have a vehicle using personal time on the taxpayer's dime? I don't think it is, so that's why we're going to collect all this data and then make a decision as we go. So that's part of or basically the big reason for that. And then by having a fleet manager, which we've never had before, to monitor mileage, gas consumption, phantom damage, and the care and use of all of our vehicles. So I think it'll be a big cost savings to the community, which we've never had before. So I'm
Mr.
in
Lee.
favor of this.
I
So am I.
agree. But yeah, and I was just going to say too that the fleet management will meet our needs effectively. So yes, hopefully yes.
If there are no other comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for all your work. Next, Superior Court, approval of the interpreter grant application.
Good morning, Jennifer Barheit, Superior Court Administrator, office at 101 South Main Basement. I am here to ask for permission to apply for the interpreter grant that we've applied for the past several years in a row.
Certainly needed.
Oh, most definitely. We were awarded $18,000 last year, and by March, we had exhausted all of those funds. And then the county is left paying the remainder.
Well, we certainly applaud your efforts to
Thank you.
continue to
Yes.
seek that grant.
Yes.
Any other questions
Negative.
regarding? If not, do we have a motion to approve the interpreter grant application?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is a proposal for the monthly Title 4D consulting services. I'm going to ask us to table that, some questions, but I want it noted that Amy Rolfus, our clerk, and her staff worked hard to renegotiate the terms of that at a significant cost savings, but there are other elements in there that I think we need to take a look at before we approve that. So in light of that, I would ask that we table that. Do we have a motion?
Motion to table.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda for infrastructure planning and growth?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good morning. Next is approval of the quote award for tree trimming.
Good morning. What this item is we sent out for quotes for some tree trimming around various areas of the county. along, some of our detention bases needed some tree trimming. There's some other areas also where that was needed. And we ended up getting one response to the quote from Watson Tree Service in the amount of $10,250. We have reviewed this and recommend your approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
How many trees or areas do we have to do?
This particular one was for tree trimming at the intersection of Ireland and Locust Road. That's to make sure that we got proper sight distance. 55025 Ash Road. There's some trees in the right-of-way there, and then there's also some landscaping as far as replanting of soil and so forth that needs seeding and grass and so forth that needs to happen. I'm not sure the exact number of trees. Brush Trail too, there's some, and then also Miami
Is
Road.
this all complaint-driven, or does Highway say, hey, we need to do this, or how does that work?
It's a little bit of both. There's a couple we got in from constituent requests where they call in and say, you know, this tree looks like it's, you know, getting close to the road, those types of things. Others, it's as our highway staff are driving around during the day, during their normal duties, they notice something, put in the request. And these are, we do have the ability to trim trees on our own, but when it gets to a point where the trees are too big or they're closer to power lines, we sub that out. So a lot of these are just trees that we can't clear on our own. But it's a mix of constituent in.
What I was alluding to, if we had, I'm sure during the course of a day, Charlie can jump out and stuff, but this is probably for bigger jobs where you need a big bucket and closing the road down and all that.
Yes, it's for the bigger jobs. And then also too, like I said, if it's getting close to power lines, we don't want to take that liability on ourselves and we sub that out.
Okay.
So-
So is it normal that there's only one company that bids that, or?
Lately, that's how it's been. Usually we'll get one or two, three, sometimes three, but we don't do quotes for tree trimming very much. I think this is the second time this year we've done it. I don't even know if we did it once last year, but typically we'll get more than one. But with the climate now, everyone's so busy. It's hard to, we had to pretty much beg these people to give us a quote, so.
I have no further questions at this time.
We've seen that quite a bit with single quotes, or we had one last week, no quotes.
Yes.
So people are busy, but
All right.
if there are no other questions, do
Well,
we have approval?
I was just going to say, though, that we're accepting then the Watson Tree Service for helping everything, right?
That's my request.
That's what I'm
that-
thinking too,
yes.
so I agree, yeah.
So are you making a motion that we approve the tree trimming? with
Motion
Watson?
to approve it, yes.
Second that, Mr. Mish.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we're looking at a quote award for Terry Brook Estates drainage repairs.
This is for some small, I shouldn't say small, the areas within the subdivision where the grading of the road has caused considerable ponding of water. There were probably 6 or 7 in Terry Brook Estates that we looked at. We had the budget to do a couple of those. So we did an RFQ for 2 areas, 2 of what we thought were the worst, to repair those. And unlike the last quote, where we only received 1, we received 5. So I guess they were hungry for this type of work. And as you can see, there's quite a spread for the low to the high quote. After reviewing this, we recommend that Premium Services be awarded the contract in the amount of $39,800. And we have funding available through LRSA, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
You already noted that it was quite a spread. That is a
Yes.
huge
Right,
spread.
yeah.
Any questions regarding the Terry Brook Estates drainage
Get to it.
repairs? Hearing none, do we have a approval for the awarding to Premium Services for Terry Brook Estates?
Well, motion to approve that.
Second the approval.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next is a bid request to advertise for a project in Sandy Brook Drive Extension in Whippoorwill Valley.
Sorry. What this is a subdivision, Whippoorwill Valley. This started back in 2014. There's a road that was not built when the subdivision was finalized, a connecting road of Sandy Brook Drive that connected the end of Sandy Brook Drive where they stopped to Christian Drive, probably about 500 foot of road. And at that time, there were agreements that were worked out where the county took the surety of the developer and would construct this roadway at a later date. It was requested that this road be constructed a year ago, and we've been working on the design to get it done, and now we are coming for you to request your approval to notice the bidding of that project. We would notice the project in the papers on October 13th and Friday, October 20th, with bid opening November 8th and construction early next year. Be happy to answer any questions.
Again, this is to advertise for bids.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to approve advertising bids for the Sandy Brook Drive Extension?
Yes, motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sky.
Thank you.
Next, under old business, for the clerk is approval of the Crow contract. And the first thing we have to do is take that off of the table.
I'll make a motion to take it.
Second.
Untable it.
Untable.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
second that.
Table it.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good morning.
Good morning. Amy Rolfus, Clerk of the Circuit Court. My office is in 101 South Main in the basement. I am here to ask your approval of a contract with Crow to provide consulting services to our finance department. We've had a significant amount of turnover of employees who have retired from the finance department who carry a lot of institutional knowledge and history of the processes and procedures. So this consulting service will cover processes that have been in place for many years, and I think it will improve the efficiency of our finance department, as well as they might be able to provide some recommendations for new technology that might be out there and available. So I ask that you could approve the Crow contract for consulting services.
What is the amount of that?
Approximately $61,000. And that would be funded through Fund 119, 1,119, the Clerk's Perpetuation Fund, which is a dedicated fund for the clerk for literally the perpetuation of the records. So the finance department, that's what they would be going through, their records and their record keeping and their processes and things like that.
Do you know, once they're done, would they recommend to you that we need more employees, less employees, different configuration of the office, or just, are they looking strictly at numbers?
I believe they're looking strictly at the processes themselves. So perhaps with new banking technology that we are currently not using, there might be availability to decrease the number of clerks, and of course that just increases the efficiency. So, but that's not the intent. The intent is to just have a in-depth review of how we're doing things in the clerk's finance department.
Okay, so once that's done, you guys could probably say, after this deep dive by them, we don't need this many employees, or we need more, or we need to.
I think that would be an option for sure, but any decisions that I make, I really want to be data informed on all of them. Again, some of the processes that we're using right now might become antiquated if we were to find a more efficient way to do it, which would then prove itself a reduction in staffing.
Very good, yeah, we're
Very
doing a lot of that at the present time in our building with all the departments, so thank you guys for doing that.
Yes.
Certainly the move to the electronic safes and the way that
Yes,
cash and checks are being handled is a good example of
Yes, that's
new
one,
improvements.
right, that's one very specific kind of improvement that we've made in the clerk's office to protect the clerk safety-wise and transparency as well.
And I was just looking, I didn't quite see it, but I believe it's approximately a 12-week
Yes.
period to get this back.
Correct. Mhm.
It's a win-win, Carl.
It is a win-win. Especially since it's being paid for out of the clerk's perpetuation fund.
That's what the perpetuation fund is
That's
for.
what it's for.
Right, good.
If there are no other questions or comments for Amy, do we have approval to approve the Crow contract?
Motion to approve.
Motion to second.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you
Aye.
vote? Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, hon. Good job.
Thank you, Ms. Carrico.
Next, we will move on to public comments. Who wishes to, I don't even have to say that anymore. Who wishes to be first?
Morning, Commissioners. Dan Caruso, 305 Compton Street, New Carlisle. Thank you for your fine work. I appreciate what you guys do. Kind of just giving an update on the site that's being cleared in New Carlisle right now. I'm hopeful that there's still a chance it's not going to be the GM battery site. There is just so many problems, especially with this methylpyrrolidone slurry, which is used to treat the materials going into the production of the battery, which spilled in Ohio. Not sure what's under the ground there, but I know there's a freshwater aquifer right under where we're putting this site. And should there be that type of a spill here, it would just be death to people downstream. Look at the fact sheet on methylpyrrolidone. It is bad stuff. And I'm hoping that you'll all work to convince higher-ups, anybody you can, that this is not the right place for this battery plant. I'm for growth. I'm glad to see the growth over there. But I'm thinking if we've gotten to this point, we were told, okay, with this battery plant, there's no smokestacks. There's nothing you're going to, and we're thinking that's great. And then we find out about this methylpyrrolidone. I'm thinking it should be somebody's job, whether it is and somebody didn't do their job, or whether we need to get a citizens committee to vet these people who are coming in and ask all the questions. What's involved in their process? This methylpyrrolidone sits on site in a vessel until they need to use it. What's the chances of that thing leaking? If the battery plant catches fire, it takes 30 to 35,000 gallons, as the firefighters just received training, to put out the fire on one Tesla car. 30 to 35,000 gallons. That's the training they've received. We're going to have thousands of batteries in that plant. Should there be a fire, it's not necessarily the fire that's going to be the problem. It's the water that's coming off of whatever's in that battery going into our aquifer. This is not the right place for this battery plant. Thank you.
Next.
My name is Dan Carter. I live at 25285 Edison Road, South Bend, Indiana. It's out by Leidick area. I'm here to complain about the train whistles and train horns out there and the safety of the railroad crossings also. We've got some issues out there where the trains are stopping at these railroad crossings and blocking the roads. And we need to have them stop before these roads so that the fire department can get through, emergency vehicles can get through these main roads, which is Quince Road and Pine Road. So that's one of the issues that I have. And then also with the train horns, it seems like they're pretty obnoxious out there. It seems like South Bend and Mishawaka can have a quiet zone. It seems like the Leidick area should have one also. the equipment at these railroad crossings are there, that just needs to be moved around and rearranged, reprogrammed to create quad gates, which makes it for a whole lot safer and makes people not be able to go around these gates. What happens is you have these slow trains coming, and then they don't know if they're going to stop. The people driving there don't know if they're going to stop at the railroad crossings. So they'll have a tendency to go around these gates. And then there's 3 sets of tracks there, and the South Shore is part of that. The Amtrak is part of that. So if this slow freight train stops, this car wants to go around the gates, and there may be another train coming from the other direction. And then you're going to have a crash. You may have a derailment, hazardous spill kind of condition going on there. So I'm just requesting to have quad gates put up in the Leidick area at these railroad crossings. It would help the property values, it would improve the quality of life out there, and it just make it all around safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak who's here in the audience? Seeing no one, we'll move to those online. I don't see any hands up today.
I think Hodges' hand was up, wasn't it?
Good morning, Hodge. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion to recess.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Fleming, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Dieter, how do you vote?
Aye.
Commissioner Baxmeyer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all. Take care.
Recording stopped.
The same thing happened last year. We got the